everybody, it's Jamie.
Hi, I'm Gemma.
From Play to Learn Preschool. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you also for all of the suggestions yesterday. I mentioned how we can no longer use Remind to send out those mass text messages to everybody who watches our live videos. Remind will still allow us to send them out to our own actual students, but for class sizes over 150, they're charging $4 per user, and it's just not in our budget to pay for that kind of a service. So I hope you understand. And a couple of people had suggested that we maybe try Facebook Messenger, and so I'm going to look into that. That's going to be my project.
I don't know if there's a maximum number of people you can send on that.
I don't think so. So we hopefully will have a solution worked out soon, and I'll let you know. And in the meantime, if you just caught us live, thank you for joining us.
Oh, make sure your notifications are switched on.
Switch your notifications. All right. Yesterday during our video, we took you on a tour of our classroom, and we talked about how our goal for the beginning of the school year is to put out things that the students can do independently, successfully, and with minimal mess, just because it's the first day of school. You never know on the first day where your attention is going to be, right? You can plan for one thing, and then
someone cries. Or everyone cries.
Or everyone cries. Or a student has a bathroom accident, or a parent stays and wants to chat. There's so many things that can go awry. I mean, always, right? Ooh, the sun just changed. We're using natural light today, and there's a cloud.
I got very bad shadows in my eyes.
So many things can go awry. I mean, any time in preschool, but specifically that first day, you just don't know. So our goal is always to put out things that do not need a ton of teacher direction or teacher explanation. And then as we introduce new things, then we explain them, right? But for the most part, we start off with things that the students can do without any okay, boys and girls, this is how you play with a Mr. Potato Head. They don't need that. They're 4. They know how to put a potato head together, right?
You can't really do anything wrong with that.
That too. The same with the pom-poms.
They can't go wrong.
You don't really have to teach it.
They can't go wrong.
Nothing can go wrong.
Nothing can go wrong.
You want nothing to go wrong.
So other people in the video yesterday were asking about if we explain the rules for sentence.
And so the truth is yes. Of course we do. But we do not stand up at the beginning of the first day and say, okay, here are all of the rules you need to know.
Dramatic play, lining up, sensory table, here goes, here's everything.
No.
I couldn't, as an adult, process all that information.
Here's how to use the whole room. So we do 2 things to sort of accomplish this task of making sure everybody knows the rules. Number 1 is, no criers, you go. Number 1 is we put out minimal things. So you'll see from our room, it's fairly bare bones because we haven't introduced it. And number 2 is we're sort of on a need to know basis. So on the first day, everybody's on a need to know basis.
It sounds so grown up.
Well, they just you don't need to tell them all the rules for all the things on the first day.
Us, sounds like we're need to know basis. Sounds like government jobs here. Need to know basis.
Oh, right. Not that kind of need to know. I mean, I need to know, here's the bathroom, and if you feel like you're going to wet yourself, you should go in there, and you don't have to ask. Because we have a bathroom right in our room.
That's a good rule.
That's a good one, right? So, on the first day, that's the first thing we tell them. Here's the bathroom. Use it.
Don't ask.
You don't have to ask. Just go in, do your business, shut the door, wash your hands, and come out. Right? That's a need to know basis. We do not need to tell them how to sort by color at the sensory table. So be smart. I know you are. Everyone who watches, we've got such great Facebook friends, but be smart about what you choose to tell the students so you don't overwhelm them and you just give them the information they need to be successful each day. And then of course we introduce new things, new manipulatives, new games, new strategies, new centers. Each day, right, we'll introduce something new until we build up to this point in October when...
That's sweet October.
Sweet October, when we've sort of introduced all the things, right? And then we can change things out, but they already have the routine and the procedure down. But don't worry about doing it all on the first day. So people yesterday were saying, what's your strategy for kids who dump things out? Right?
Don't put many things out.
Don't put too many things out. think to yourself, am I okay with all of these things being dumped out? And if the answer is no, you probably need to put a few things away.
Yeah.
And number
Because
two,
if you get overwhelmed thinking all of this stuff is all in a pile on the ground, how am I going to clean it up? You know that the kids are going to be the same. Like, they dump it out and then they're overwhelmed because there's too much stuff. And then how are they going to clean it up? If you're overwhelmed, so will they be.
that is true. So don't put out too much stuff, number one. And number two, we use a ton of visual cues and strategies and cards all around the room. Angie, I will answer your question. I will come back and answer your question in just a minute. So just as some examples, we have these hanging within arm's reach all around our room, and we use them on a need-to-know basis. So if something comes up and I haven't explained it yet, then I can just say, oh, hold on.
I have something that will help you.
So here are some examples.
Okay, this is the...
We do not have paint.
We know it's backwards.
We do, yeah.
It's on it, and we know the words.
I need
They're not
everybody to
backwards for us.
hold a mirror up to their iPhone and then they can read what
I
we're
know.
saying. So we do not have we do not have paint out at our easel yet. But when we do put paint out,
This one still has paint on it.
it does. We will teach the students how to use the paint, how to put on a smock if they want to, how to get the paint, how to wash their brush, how to hang it up when they're done. And then we use this card to reinforce the routine. So it says, put on a smock, think what you're gonna paint and plan it. Paint your picture and then write your name on it. And there's a little picture to go with each one. And so we've taught this obviously on the day we introduced paint to the easel. And then it's hanging, has a little hook, and it just hangs right there at our easel. So anytime that we need to reteach that routine, or we see a student maybe who is not following the routine, or he does like a drive-by painting with no name, then we just say, oh, hey, come back. I'd like to show you this card. So when we paint at the easel, we put on a smock, we think and we plan, we paint, and then we write our name on it. That's what we do every time. Can you show me how to do that? And so we just
You're gonna
really...
have to show these cards to them very often.
Yeah, we just really are really... we really are really...
Really or really?
Really, we really are. I lost the important part of that sentence. I
really lost it.
Conscious about not giving them too many directions, right? So we introduce it, and then 80%, 90% of the kids do not need to be re-taught.
Yeah.
So it's important that the teacher's not talking too much, right? Show them how to do it, they do it.
So if you're at the sensory table, most of them know, really, or they like to think what would be a good idea. Don't put this stuff on the ground. Do you have the one or two kids that don't? So you don't have to tell everybody.
Your whole
Don't
class
throw
isn't going to go over there and dump the whole thing, right?
No.
Exactly. I mean, like 80%,
They're not.
90% of the kids don't need to hear, don't throw everything on the ground, because
So when it happens,
doesn't happen.
Then you just explain to the kids who are doing it. Let's look at the.
here's the funny thing
Let's
about
really,
our
really look at
sensory
this
cards.
list.
Let's really look at this really list. Oh man, we are out of practice. So I don't know what happened to our sensory card. Do you see the little hook right there on the sensory
It's gone.
table? This is where it's hung for 4 years.
It's gone.
It used to be
Can't
a
find it.
lot like more homemade than this.
So I
Now got
collected
clip
these.
art.
I collected these ones from around the room before we came on, and then I'm like, "Where's
The sensory table one is
sensory one?"
missing.
She's like,
I printed it again,
Wow.
and it just says, and I know it is backwards view, but it says I can play the sensory table, and then we cut them in half and put it on the front of a black piece of cardstock in the back, like this, front, back. It says we have to keep it in the table, no eating, no throwing, sweep it up, and we show them how to do that.
They like the
Easy.
sweeping.
They do like the sweeping. We heard from a lot of people that some of the cards that we were using were very specific for our situation. For an example,
You have it with you.
I do, hold on, it's hanging up right here.
This one I obviously did not pick up.
Sorry, this one is still hanging by the door, that when they come in for school, at our school, they have to say hello, they hang up their backpack. Our school, they take off their shoes and they go over to the carpet. But we heard from lots of people who said that they love this idea, but their kids do not take off their shoes. You are in luck, because over the summer, we updated that file so that,
Should I find it now?
I got it. So that instead of it saying you take off your shoes, it says take off your jacket. And then there's lots of options. We put lots of options for you. Hopefully you can find one that works. Instead of go to the carpet, it might say
Go to the table.
yeah, go to the table, put your folder in the basket. There are lots of different options. So start learning. So you can choose the one that makes sense for your classroom. We also added one for the Science Center, one for Play-Doh. We added this really glamorous one called I Can Blow My Nose. If somebody would have told me like 20 years ago that my job would be to teach groups of people how to blow their nose, I probably would have laughed my head off at them. Right? Would you imagine that this is your life?
When we were doing these, it's just like, wow, this is not a glamorous.
This is a new low. All right, so
how you blow your nose.
This is how you blow your nose.
Like some adults need this too.
You cover it with a tissue. You blow into the tissue, and then you throw the tissue away and wash your hands. Right? Now, I do not need to teach this to the whole class on the first day. But the first time somebody has a really gross sneeze and is just standing there with stuff everywhere, and I say, oh, come and I'll show you. First I'll help you, and then I'll tell you next time I'd like you to use a tissue and try to catch it in the tissue. Cover your nose with the tissue.
But then you'll find some kids who say, hey, you need a tissue? And they'll go get a tissue for their friend if they see they're not in a good condition to go get one.
But the visuals really help. They help students whose language might be a little bit less developed than other students. They help students who are just learning English. They help students with disabilities. They help regular old neurotypical students
just kids that
who just need a visual
yeah.
to match with the words that you're saying.
Because they don't want to listen to us all the time.
I also find that when we do have the cards hanging at the centers, if someone's like breaking the rules, you know, like at the block center specifically, sometimes we'll have kids who are throwing the blocks or something like that.
Look, that's clearly on the list.
And after we've taught the strategies, I'm sorry, I bumped into you.
No problem.
Then we'll have the other kids who are playing over there get the card.
Say, look,
no
throwing.
No throwing. And they're like, oh, that's right. Don't throw the cards. Or don't throw the blocks. And don't throw the cards. Anyway, it's just one of those strategies we have. They're not really in your face. They're just hidden. You know, like a little clip card here, a little clip card by the blocks, a little one on the side of the easel. Our bathroom.
Another glamorous one.
This is also glamorous. Did I bring the bathroom one?
The most
It's actually in the bathroom.
Oh, it is. I don't think I want to get that.
You know, but we have one about how they wash their hands. And for some students, they can do this, but others need the step-by-step process. Turn on the water, get some soap, rub your hands together, turn off the water, and dry with a paper towel.
And we just add those little command hooks all over the place.
It's literally like hanging on the mirror right by the sink where they wash their hands. So lots of visuals are really good for helping to reinforce the routine, but our biggest piece of advice is not to try to tell them all the things they need to know on the first day.
One of the best ways is to model what you want them to do.
Model, play beside them.
Be with them, talk to them, and show them how to play. Just show them how to play with the materials.
And be confident in the fact that they're coming to you with a certain set of skills, certain set of play skills, hopefully, that they're not gonna just come and run. Everybody is not going to just come and run and dump the things. So that you'll have, you know, a good number of students who are also being good models in your classroom.
The little twos may do it a lot.
They're dumpers.
But I know someone asked about that earlier, what they put out for twos. Just don't put as much.
Only put out what you're happy to pick up off the ground. Anyway.
And start slowly. Don't feel like you have to have everything accessible the first week. Or even the first month, because that's going to make you crazy.
Yes, start kind of bare bones and then add things in as you start to teach and model the new strategies. So these cards, I will leave a link in the video description, but if you own them already or if you've purchased this set already, go back to your My Purchases on TPT, download them again because there's like 12 additional cards. Other options for arriving at school and not taking your shoes off, options for riding the bus safely, lining up in the hallway, Play-Doh. There are like a lot of different options. And if there's something that I missed, just send me a message and I will see if I can incorporate it and get it in there too. So, all right. Did we do all the things?
I think so.
That's how we handle dumping.
We need to get back on our game with
And
the
blowing
videos.
our noses.
Well, with the videos, we're rusty with the
Are you? I
videos.
thought we were okay.
I don't know. Really good.
Just because I forgot to grab it. Oh, goodness. Really, that was a lot of.
Really.
We hope you have a wonderful day playing and learning with your kids.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.